ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Talk Scottish Football episode 60. I'm Ryan Fitzsimons, I'm back. Do you know the last episode was the first that I have ever missed?
I know, David read it out.
The comments.
So you obviously didn't watch it.
No, I didn't watch it, no. The comments were hilarious. Have you seen the comments section?
Aye.
If it's Ryan's done, I don't know, Ryan's doing, I don't know what it is. I'd spoken my own channel about the game, I wasn't hiding away for it.
So you didn't hear what we said you were doing then, no? You said you were doing orienteering.
I heard that bit. I
looking for Eddie Howe.
Looking for Eddie Howe. I was looking for Eddie Howe, nowhere to be found, and we'll come on to that in today's show. Div, you're back with us again today, mate. You're literally now the Mr. No Days Off character.
I know, I'll take that, mate. I'll take that.
And it's just a nice wee
Glad to be back.
You can't stop coming up now. Feel homely.
I know.
Look at you. Beautiful.
Nice new telly.
Nice new telly.
I won't say which one there was, because that'll get you cancelled.
If people have seen my Twitter before, they've seen one of the things on the was.
Well, we'll not show them the other. The other one, you know, it's on the wall.
Callum, you're back for the first time in a long time here on Talk Scottish Football in terms of the main podcast series. How are you feeling, mate?
It's good. It's nice to be back. It's a bit of a change for then also our lives and that, but
of course you've been on the Celtic the Thunder as well, different for Zoom. It's just nice to be in person, feels a lot more natural, a lot more, you know, this is it, this is the big one.
What was it that David texted into the chat? Where was he away again? What did he say he was doing?
What's he doing? What?
Aye, did he not say what was it?
He was away from Timbuktu, that's right.
Aye. But what was the reason for it? He was doing something mental, wasn't he? What was it?
I don't know, did he? I missed that.
I thought it was away skiing with monkeys apart.
Was it?
Some form of skiing.
No way.
Some form of
I
skiing.
thought he said he was away horseback riding or
But
something.
did he actually put this in the chat?
Aye, up in Fort William he's gone horseback riding or something like that.
Honestly, don't check, honestly.
It's like a weekend away during the week or something.
You're joking.
No, seriously.
Honestly, don't check it.
Aye.
Whereabouts in the chat is this?
It was further back, mate, we'll just leave it, we'll move on, but horseback riding or skiing, David's away. I don't know either or.
Up to Avonmore.
I don't know, can make a weekend.
Bella Houston, skiing in Bella.
Jesus Christ.
At the dry slope.
Christ almighty.
Top brings it up dry, anyway.
We're here on election day, so make sure to get out and vote. Watching this, if you've not done it yet, go out and vote. And that's that part done. Time to talk about football. That's what we're here to mostly talk about. And this weekend is obviously a bit different. Scottish Cup is back. League 1, League 2 and the Championship are, well, in terms of the league campaign, over. We're now into playoff mode. So we are now at that kind of end of the season where things just... We wanted to finish, Callum. We're just hoping for the end to drop up.
I've been hoping for the end since October, let's be honest, Ryan. It's been a long one, but thankfully it's in the dying end now.
Aye, so we'll start with the Scottish Cup this weekend because those are the two biggest games. Scottish Premiership is off altogether, isn't there? No Premiership games.
It is not, no.
Are you sad to be missing out on Rangers this weekend?
Aye, but we weekend off, innit?
I suppose.
It's been constant.
Who's
my throat's killing me for the cheating.
Funny. Okay, well, my eyes are sore for the greeting.
I'd rather we were playing this weekend though, to be honest. Do you know what I mean?
So
meanwhile, still in the Scottish Cup.
So who's Celtic and Rangers got left? And we've got St Johnstone and...
We've got Aberdeen.
You've got Aberdeen. We've got St Johnstone and who?
We've got Livy as well.
So you've got the last two games are...
Livy and then Aberdeen is our last game in the season.
Your last two, St Johnstone Hibs, is that your last two games?
So.
I think it will be. It will be St Johnstone Hibs. Christ, we're going to get fucking beaten both of them. That's the way it goes. So, Scottish Cup, talking about Hibs, we may as well start there. A chance for Hibs this weekend to get themselves into their second Scottish Cup final in the last 5 years after that win back in 2016. Sorry, Div, if we're going through misery, we may as well pile it on for yourself. Dundee United is the opponents. I mean, on paper, Hibs should be the favourites, but we know the phrase, Hibs in it. Will they Hibs it this weekend, Div?
Well, they had the chance at the weekend there to secure third place and they Hibs it. St Johnstone went over and they done them 1-0. Glenn Middleton with the only goal. I do fancy them in this. They're playing Dundee United. Obviously Dundee United went up to Poty, smashed Aberdeen, but then they go at the weekend there and they end up getting beat. I don't think they had a shot on target, and it was the exact same starting 11 as the quarter final. So Dundee United are just so hot and cold, you just never know what you're going to get for it. But what I will say is, if Shankland and that get opportunities, then they could put them away. You know, it's a big question for Jack Ross as well, because if you look at the biggest game so far in his Hibs career, he's not really lived up to that expectation yet, and I think that's why some Hibs fans are a wee bit upset, even though they can still get third. They're still in a semi-final, they can get a final, because they get put out of Hearts, they get put out of St Johnstone, they get beat the weekend there again in the biggest game. This one's huge to get to a final for the Ross.
Of course, Dundee United, they've had a very, as Div's already kind of touched on, up and down season. Mickey Mellon, this would be really, if they got to the Scottish Cup final, I know they missed out in top 6, but I think if you offer the Dundee United fans comfortable safety in the top half this season and a cup final, they would have picked a hand off, Cal.
Oh, without a doubt, especially first season back up. I think if they were to go and reach a Scottish Cup final, obviously say they don't want it, but they do reach that. I think that's an unbelievable first season up, especially the team they've come up with. I'm not saying they've come up with a very poor team, but obviously there's certainly additions they would like to have done. As they've said, if Shankland can get himself sort of up and flying, I think they could push themselves for it.
But see, when you look at their strikers, they've got that in abundance. Like you look at that and you think there's goals in that. Nicky Clark's got energy, gets a boot. Shankland can score. McNulty's got energy and can score. But I think it's when it falls back to that midfield. Like I don't know if that midfield creates enough, and maybe that's what they're needing. They're needing a talisman in the middle to control games and to create opportunities. Because even you fall back, defence is alright, goalie's good.
Yep, of course.
Celtic are supposed to be maybe interesting.
Seacrest, very good keeper.
Good,
but
very
it's
good.
a tale of the game, isn't it? I think all eyes are on the strikers when it comes to the two teams. Kevin Nisbet, Lauren Shankland. This is also the biggest stage, I think, for them to maybe give a bit of an addition for the Euros as well.
It's weird enough because it's their second Scottish Cup semi-final this season.
Nisbet
missed the penalty, didn't he, in the last one as well?
Right,
so
of course.
You're right. It's a big audition. Shankland's been in the squads, hasn't he, for so long. He falls out. Nisbet comes in. Now you're thinking Nisbet can go, but if Shankland shows up here and Nisbet, you just never know. So you're right. It's a huge game for them.
And that's the difference these kind of players can make, isn't it, Cam? Because when you get late into the game, look, I wouldn't be surprised if either one of the two semi-finals this weekend go to extra time. You need players like Nisbet, you need players like Shankland who might have that bit of experience in scoring goals and composed situations. Late in the game, they're going to be important.
Oh, definitely. I think, as you're saying, once you know what both of them can do, as we're saying, for this edition for Euros, both of them will be right up for it. I feel also there should be players at other clubs, club of their own with fucking Griffiths, but that's certainly a player that won't be anywhere near it.
Well, he might be at Hibs next season for all we know.
I thought it was Aberdeen.
It's going to be one of the two, isn't it? It's going to be Aberdeen or Hibs if he's going anywhere.
If they take him.
You'd
imagine they'd bite the hand off, but you just never know, do you? Could they have done south or something?
You never know. I thought that was a camera.
So did that.
That's already. No, but yeah, Calum, it's one of those ones that both of these teams, they need these kind of players. I think Hibs have got the advantage in that sense. I think that Dundee United this season have struggled a lot with players like Shankland's fitness and even Nicky Clark's fitness have not been there all season in terms of being able to last games and such. Whereas you look at Hibs, have got players like Boyle on the right. You've got young guys in the defence. You look even as far as Doig, very young, very energetic, and that takes it up the park as well. Everywhere in the park, Hibs have got the legs. I think they wouldn't mind it going maybe the full stretch, but they need to learn from the mistakes against Hearts in the last semi-final.
No, definitely. I think you need to sort of have that killer instinct when it comes to terms of putting chances away. I think if it came to it could come to also it does go into extra time, but you don't want to run that into penalties again, especially when you're playing again in the league next weekend and you're trying to push for third place. So I think if they could try and get the game done inside the 90, they would obviously fancy it, anybody would, but for me I think I'd agree with it. I think I could see it's going to extra time.
See if you had to put a player on you think that can just take control of this game, who would you go for? Who's going to be the difference, do you think?
I think when you look at it straight away, you're maybe inclined to say Nisbet, but I'm going to say Martin Boyle. I can't go anywhere else but Martin Boyle. He's just a brilliant player. And people are saying, I've had tons of comments saying, we should be signing Boyle, and I can actually understand signing Boyle because he's been that good. He's been really, I would say, like the spirit of Hibs. He just seems to be able to do everything. He can take the ball, he can shoot, he's got a good finish on him. He's the kind of player that can really grab the game, and I think take it for Hibs at the weekend. If anybody wants to come up and be the difference maker, for me, we talk as much as we have about the strikers, but Martin Boyle, he's the character that can really change the game.
Do you think Martin Boyle or not?
It's either Boyle or if he was to play Gogic. See him playing in that whole midfielder, for him taking the ball and just giving it to somebody else who can play the passes. That's all they need. So as we're saying, in terms of the midfield, Hibs will easily win the midfield battle for me. Gogic could make a difference in terms of stopping those counter attacks, playing the balls into Shankland and such. But it has to be Boyle or Gogic for me.
That's a good shout. Gogic's a good one because it does. I was thinking Boyle myself.
I thought you were going to say David Gray. David Gray.
Never heard him.
Did he ring any bells?
No, I've deleted that from my memory. No, I think that's a good point. Gogic will give them the players a platform to go and kind of
say what they do best. Go and do their own thing.
Does it dirty work well, doesn't he?
Do you know what I've just thought of? Is Douglas Ross involved in any of the games this weekend? He's got.
I think he's got the weekend off.
Is he? I think so. A busy week for him after he loses all his seats. No, but No, it's going to be an entertaining game. That's the thing. Of course, we've spoke about the fact that both Celtic and Rangers missing out in the semi-finals. It does kind of, a lot of people, especially outside of Scotland, are looking at it and go, but it really is, when you sit down and you talk about the games, Dundee United and Hibs, it's going to be a really entertaining one. I mean, these are two of the biggest clubs in the country at the end of the day. So it's going to be a really entertaining game. And then on the other side, the next day on Sunday, 2:15 kick-off, we've got the Battle of the Saints. We've got St Mirren against St Johnstone, of course. Both teams working incredibly hard this season under very, very talented managers. I mean, this year, both of them really up for it. And you were speaking before we came on, I'm kind of shocked that Jim Goodwin's not up there for maybe a nomination over the likes of maybe Stevie Clark, you were saying?
Aye, well, if you look at St Mirren's season, they were hit with COVID quite bad, weren't they? Aye. It was like 2 or 3.
Because did they not get
Bobby's Lamau?
Did they not get one of the fines as well? Were they one of the teams?
I think they were, aye.
Was it Kilmarnock and St Mirren?
And they're also the team, I'm sure, that had to bring in Bobby's Lamau as an emergency loan. So that start of the season wasn't great for them. But the way that they've picked up and they've kicked on, and they probably should have got top 6. Like, they bottled it just in the last minute. Hamilton get the equaliser, and that kind of puts them out top 6. And remember at the start of the season, their chairman came out and saying top 6 would be I don't know about yourself, but probably 4 years. You're like, there's no chance, but then they go and have the season that they've had, man. So for me, Jim Goodwin's had a great season, and as I was saying, obviously AFL, like, I think he should be in with the running. I don't think he should win it, but I think he should be in the shortlist for sure.
That's a guy we've been saying maybe the likes of Aberdeen should have been looking at him. You know, he's had a really good season.
I think he's at St Mirren at the right point as well. He got a new deal. He's got some money to spend. The future's looking bright for St Mirren, but I'm putting my money on St Johnstone. Davidson's just done a great job, and he knows how to win. He knows how to get these results. They're organised and they score goals now. So if I had to put money on it, I'd go with the Saints.
Go with the Saints
of the Johnstone.
The Saints of Johnstone. Callum, a massive chance for Davidson to go and win what would be a cup double, and automatically would become St Johnstone's greatest season in their existence.
100%.
I mean, we looked at when Tommy Wright left the club and went, it will be incredibly difficult for anyone to come in and replicate the success that Tommy Wright brought. He got that cup back in 2014. He had on his consistent Premiership outfits and sometimes, most of the time, top half. For Callum Davidson to come in and now have the chance for a double, the team are going to... I think that if you're looking at who wants this more at the weekend, your money would probably be on St Johnstone.
Oh, definitely. I think even if you look back to the start St Johnstone had, they were very slow. He couldn't get them playing the football he wanted. But you seen they looked at the players actually, right, I can't play that formation I want. Let's mix this up and go with what we've got. For what he's done there, like as we were saying earlier, see if you say to a St Johnstone fan, alright, you'll have a good season, decent enough, you'll make it to 2 cup finals, they'll bite your hand off at that.
You know, top half, they got top half. They get 2 cup finals.
Well, they're not there yet, but they're
maybe 2 cup finals. Sorry, I don't want to jinx them. Sorry, St Johnstone fans.
St Mirren fans are raging at you.
That's the thing. But see, I must admit, I've been saying it since the very first when the game's finished. I've got St Mirren. I've just something in my gut is telling me St Mirren will win this weekend.
They've got good players. Like it's just if they show up on the day, and they weren't great in the last semi-final against Livy, wasn't it?
That's right. Aye.
And ultimately it was a bad game. Livy just done them, didn't they? Just outworked them, I think. Maybe the experience of that semi-final, they'll learn from that and they'll kick on. One thing I will say, I feel for the fans, because you think St Mirren fans, there had been 2 semi-finals, chance of a Scottish Cup final, they're not going to be there. St Johnstone, chance of winning 2 cups. It's massive. Dundee United fans after what they've been through and stuff. Hibs, nah, I'm not really
But honestly, let's sit down for a minute. Just interesting facts here. In terms of the world of football, you've got all these teams making cup semi-finals and finals that aren't Celtic and Rangers, which the fans would absolutely kill for. Down in England, you've got Manchester City making their first ever Champions League. I mean, I hate City, but they're making their first ever. I think so as well. But they're making their first ever Champions League final. Inter Milan have just stopped 10 in a row. Rangers have just stopped 10 in a row. Look at France. Lille could win it. All these things are happening.
The La Liga still, there's like 4-way
race. All of this and what was meant to be one of the, we were going into this season going, this could be poor, this with no fans. And for as bad as it's been in terms of, I think, of the atmosphere, of course, it's managed to gather quite an entertaining year.
Scotland in the Euros, I know.
Scotland in the Euros. Going to win it. Look at all these things that fans have missed this year. It is absolutely crazy when you think about it. And St Mirren and St Johnstone add on to that because they're 2 teams who, I think, this point last year would never have seen at this point.
Well, St Mirren just were down at the relegation kind of zones, weren't they? So St Johnstone losing Tommy Wright, I think I had them 11th in my predictions. So humble pie for me. Humble pie. 100%. I think you had them low as well, because I just thought Davidson coming in, didn't know too much about him.
I had them at 11th for 10th.
I just thought, how surely he can't come in and do a better job than Wright, because Wright, there's always that famous stat, he never spent £1 in his full time on transfers. Davidson's come in, similar budget, but he's made them good to watch as well. Like, they're solid at the back. That back three are brilliant, young, up and coming as well. Decent goalie. He's a big idiot actually, I hate him. He's a decent goalie. But they're also, going forward, they've got a couple of good players in there.
Aye. Well, St Mirren, of course, I've said I fancy them. You look at your boy McGrath, and especially this season, he's. If we talk about who could change the game here, let's do that exact same conversation. We'll go around the table in terms of St Mirren and St Johnstone. For me, it's McGrath. If anybody's changing this game this weekend or carrying the game and making it their own, for me, it's him. He's been on fire this season. A player who is up there in maybe the conversation for Team of the Year, the way he's been playing. He needs to relish this opportunity, and as you said earlier, the exact same point here now about St Mirren learning from that past. It's players like that who've had such good season needs to step up and learn from that semi-final defeat the last time. So Jamie McGrath for me. Anybody in any of the two teams for you?
As I was saying it, like also off air, I think Alan McCann's in my shout. Just for the season he's had, he's been a cracking player.
That's back-to-back seasons now. He's been unreal.
Broke into the international scene and all.
Yeah. For that, for me personally, I think it has to be him.
Has to be him. Yourself?
Oh, Stevie May? The two, Stevie May's just a god, isn't he?
Aye.
Remember you showed me meeting that Kiwi?
The Kiwi, I
showed you it.
Oh, you showed me it, aye.
Aye, when that happens, you're like, somebody was him that showed you.
Aye.
Listen, Stevie is a god. He's a god of football. We all know how good he is. On his day, is there anybody better than him? I don't know.
Doogie, that's it,
maybe. Doogie, maybe. But if we're taking Doogie out of the equation, Steve boy is up there. But no, I'm thinking I'm going to go a bit different. And do you know I like that boy Dunmas? See Dunmas at St Mirren? I like him, and then there's another boy in the middle, McAllister, is it?
Gary McAllister, is it?
No,
I know Gary. Gary Mac. What's his name again?
Callum, is it?
Is it Callum? Why did I say Gary McAllister? I literally had him on my screen. I know what you're talking about. I had him on my screen a moment ago.
David's just said there to keep an apparently there's a COVID outbreak at St Johnstone.
Oh my God! What a lovely timing.
Is it?
Is it?
I'm waiting for him to
confirm.
Aye, just confirmed there.
Oh my.
McPherson's his name.
No. Kyle McAllister?
No.
Is that
no, it's McPherson I'm talking about.
Are you talking
he doesn't always play, right?
It's not Cammy, is it?
Cammy McPherson. He doesn't always play, he's a young player. But see, when I have watched him, I think he's got something in him. And it is maybe just...
He's only 22, isn't he?
Maybe he needs to just get a couple goals and he could kick start and fire on, get some more confidence in him. But every time I watch him, I like him, So as a wild card, I'll go with McPherson as well to do something, get good delivery. So we'll go with him, but surely with St Johnstone, the COVID outbreak, we'll need to wait and see
of course,
who's missing for St Johnstone, but that's huge.
Yep, that is huge. So I'm trying to get things up live here for us, this live breaking news.
They've not confirmed which players.
I'll read out a statement very briefly from the Herald. St Johnstone confirmed COVID outbreak at McDermott Park ahead of Scottish Cup semi-final. St Johnstone have confirmed 2 first-team stars will miss. Only 2 players will miss this weekend's Scottish Cup semi-final against St Mirren. The club statement read, the football club can today confirm that 2 members of our playing staff have tested positive for COVID-19 and will both be missing from the Scottish Cup semi-final on Sunday against St Mirren. Thankfully, after the latest round of testing, all results were negative. So it's only 2 players that will be missing. The 2 players aren't named.
Yeah.
Wait and see what happens. I imagine he turned around, it was something like Clark and McCann or something, that would be...
The boys at the back.
Brutal. I know, Sean Rooney or something like that. That would be madness.
That would be mad.
I mean, I already said I fancied St Mirren, but now if you're Jim Goodwin, I mean...
I love it.
You're letting your lips.
See, when you're looking at the other COVID outbreaks, only to be losing 2 players...
It's not
as bad as maybe first anticipated, so I don't know. It will depend on who it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, if it's 2... quintessential members of the team, it could be curtains.
It could be.
The Saints could win it.
Beef curtains.
Whoever it is. Whoa, it's too early for that.
Just like a Benidorm.
I don't want to hear about your stories for last night, man.
Last night was only Wednesday. I'll have Christ almighty. Right. Well, that's everything we need to know about the Scottish Cup this weekend. That's just like a Benidorm. That's it. I mean, have you not seen the episode of Benidorm?
Like beef medallions.
She's trying to order beef medallions. She goes like beef cutlets and mixed bits. She's fucking beer. Right, so
mix, brilliant.
Oh, it is fantastic. And to end off the Scottish Cup conversation, right? Well, you've already gave yours, but we'll see if you want to change it. Who is going to be in the Scottish Cup final come Monday morning? I'm sticking with Hibs St Mirren. I think it's a Hibs St Mirren final. Cal.
Hibs St Johnstone.
Hibs St Johnstone. You stick with the Hibs St Johnstone final as well?
I think I'll stick with it. I think I'll stick. But wouldn't it surprise me? It's competitive games. If Hibs don't show up, I would say Hibs are the biggest favourites out of the two games. But if Hibs don't show up, Dundee United, I know they're still in there. So you just never know. But if I had to, I'd go Hibs St Johnstone, man.
Right, class. Right, okay, that's the Scottish Cup covered. Of course, a bit of a shorter episode today, as we get to the end, due to the fact that there is no Scottish Premiership games, but there is teams fighting to get in the Scottish Premiership. Dunfermline and Raith Rovers started their Championship playoff bids on Tuesday night. David was there. David was commentating.
That's why he'll be away doing the horseback skiing.
Horseback skiing?
Because he put up, didn't he? He was taking a few days off Twitter, so maybe it's like a meditation thing to try and just get in the zone, aye.
I'm not missing everything that David's up to.
Honestly, mate, aye. You might a meditation retreat or something like that.
Something along the lines of that.
Something psychological,
right? I did say he's taking a few days after work, was it?
Aye, seriously, go on his Twitter, he's taking a few days after Twitter.
You're joking.
He's away in
why do I miss everything?
He's away in a midweek extravaganza.
Aye,
so read the tweet out, you'll find it.
Right
at the
nice
top.
To have a couple of days back up the road at home in between the madness of the playoff fight derbies. Distraction needed.
There you go.
A couple of days off Twitter and does well. Alright.
Mad, innit?
Aye.
Fair play to him, but because I paid £12 for that Dunfermline game there.
Aye, I seen you were watching it with the Wayne.
I was watching it with the Wayne.
Was he good on the commentary?
He was good in the commentary, aye. To be fair, he was good on the commentary, but needed to be more chances in the game. Dunfermline had plenty of opportunities. Like if you look back in the highlights, he probably had the best opportunities in the game. But I think Raith will be happy going away with a 0-0. Kai Kennedy was decent for Raith in the second half. I thought he looked like the biggest danger. But Dunfermline, although 0-0 are still in the game, I think they should have maybe took a couple of opportunities.
Well, that's the thing now. Dunfermline need a big performance heading away from home. Now I know it's only down the road. They're only going down to Kirkcaldy, innit? That's where Raith are fair. They're only going down there, so it's not that far a journey. But and there's obviously no fans. But Raith have been fantastic this season. They've been really the blue. I think everybody's expectations out the water. So David and Dunfermline will be hoping for something big in the next game.
No, definitely. I mean, even if it is just the one chance it creeps up, we take that or put ourselves through, especially getting an away goal. But I think it'll be very tough for them, especially the fact Raith managed to see it the 0-0. As David was saying, that suits him right to the ground. The fact they've not conceded and they've probably went that game plan, just keep it tight, just play for the second leg.
And it's fascinating to me because when I look at it, right, Dundee, of course, they're the team who will take on the winners of this in the kind of semi-final. To me, both of these teams are capable of beating Dundee, so I'd expect them to go all guns blazing this now, try to get the win. I know obviously you want to be careful, make sure not to ship away goals, but Raith and Dunfermline should be fancying their chances of getting to that playoff final.
It's exciting. David was saying Sky had the rights to show these games and they just chose to show the final, which is a shame because it is exciting. You go into this game, it's a derby. Raith Dunfermline, it's a derby. All to play for, as you say, is on their day they could beat Dundee. I'd say Raith, out of the three teams we've just mentioned, I've been most impressed with this season. Dunfermline are hitting form though at the right time, so you just never know. Going off that second half there, I do fancy Raith in this game if their star players are able to impose themselves. But as you said, if they get opportunity, they take it for the content. For Davey, we want Dunfermline to get through, but I do think Raith might take that. And Dundee as well, they're hitting forms. Every time they score, I check, it's Cummins, it's scoring. He's got Premiership quality, so it's exciting, man, and they'll play second bottom, whoever that's going to be as well in the Scottish Premier League.
Exactly, I mean that was blew wide open.
We spoke about that, it was just
wide open.
A big shot.
It was. And Callum, just to touch on very quickly, you're hoping for big performances from you and Henderson and Kerr McInroy as we get ready to bring them back in the summer.
It'd be good to see them sort of also
Lewis Mail for you as well, of course.
Lewis Mail was on the bench for Dunfermline.
What were you going to say there,
No, it should be good to see them obviously. They're getting game time there, they're playing sort of not above themselves, but you know what I mean, they're playing an actual first team football. It's good to see them get that experience in them if they're to come in also at the first team next season, and the likes of Henderson. if he's acting like his brother, then I'd be happy with that.
The boy Henderson had a good opportunity. He tries to curl it. It's a shot for outside the box and stuff, but he makes good space, tries to curl it, and the goalie makes is McDonald, is it? The goalie for Rafe? Did he used to play for Hearts?
McDonald, no, he played for Kelly.
Kelly, was it? I think he might have played for Hearts. He just holds it, makes a really good save, but if I had to say, no being biased, I thought the boy Kai Kennedy just looks like he's got something special in him. And
are you excited to have him be back at Rangers as well?
100%, because there was talk of contracts and stuff like that, and whether he was going to move on. We've seen a lot of youth players in the old firm moving on, which I think's a shame, because they're at these clubs for a reason. They're the best young players in Scotland. Do you know what I mean? So more of them needs an opportunity. The fact Kai Kennedy's went there and he's getting good reviews, and in that game in the second half especially, I thought there's a player in there for sure.
Right, okay, that takes us off with the Championship then, as we wait to see if Dunfermline or Rafe can do it. David, it's weird calling you David.
That's my name.
That is your name. Just know you as David. Just very quickly before we finish, from watching that first leg, if you were to take an estimation of who's going to win in the second, do you fancy anybody in particular? Would you lean towards?
I'd lean towards Rafe.
Rafe?
I just thought, see when Rafe got on the ball, they just looked like they had a wee bit more than Dunfermline. I think they've gave Dunfermline a couple of downs this year as well, haven't they? 4-1 was it in one of the games? But listen, Dunfermline were quite resolute. They didn't get a lot of opportunities, Rafe. I'd still say Dunfermline had the biggest chances in the game and probably should have won the game. But you're just thinking in the balance of play and you're looking at Rafe, you just think maybe their flair players have got a bit extra. But the boy Kevin O'Hara was good for Dunfermline, really good.
Really good. I seen David raving about him.
He was good, had some opportunities, so you just never know. Whoever can take control of this game, I think they'll get the victory in the middle of the park.
Right, League 1 and League 2 finished on Tuesday night with drama, to say the least. We'll come on to the situation that happened with one of the sides in League 1 in a moment. But Partick Thistle are officially the champions. They lifted the trophy yesterday morning in bizarre fashion. So the league finished Tuesday night, and then they lifted it Wednesday morning at
half 10,
just there themselves. I mean, well deserved from Partick, because people had them down and out. People were saying, no chance. I stuck by them the whole fucking way. Every episode on this show, I've been saying Partick will go in and win that league. Apart from, I think, when I said COVID win.
Probably because you had the pals there.
What?
You've been there, haven't you? Covering something like you get pals there.
Me and Ian McCall, we enjoy a wee snout together.
You're back to back and you're like a camera badge.
Aye, we snout together. We love it. Twos, we share it. Can't do that now, of course.
Whoa, you better watch for your hand movements, gentlemen. Replay that.
You watch it.
Seriously, man.
You watch yourself. Partick Thistle champions, as we know, in the playoff positions are secure. Falkirk absolutely bottling it. They were top of the table. I think they were 5 clear at some point at the top.
I think it was more than that.
Was it more? Was it 7 maybe?
I thought it was there or thereabouts.
Aye. They were clear at the top of the table and they collapsed in some fashion, and they've missed out in the playoffs all together. They lost on Tuesday night to Airdrie 2-0. It's just a shambles, isn't it?
I don't know what's happened. I mean, they looked like they were going up. Even last season they were there or thereabouts for going up, and they just missed out because of COVID.
Aye.
But they've just capitulated since they've came back. I seen a screenshot, and my maths isn't great, but I'm sure they've maybe picked up 5 points or something like that since they've been back.
That's crazy, isn't it?
And that was for them being 5-7 points clear. So I can't believe it, to be quite honest, because they looked a cert. We played them earlier in the season as well, Rangers in the cup, and although I think we won 4-0 or something like that, they looked alright. They looked like a decent footballing side. So maybe they've just tried to stick to their guns too much. I know the managers get the sack as well. So
there's all the talk of Peter Grant perhaps taking that job at Falkirk,
which is interesting.
Callum, when you look around that league, right, and you look at the teams surrounding Falkirk, arguably they're one of the bigger teams in the league. Take away maybe Partick Thistle, probably the biggest team in the league. For the fans to have to endure another season in League 1 when they looked so favourable to perhaps win that league this season, it's a bit of a kick in the stones, isn't it?
Oh, it definitely is. I think it's just baffling, the fact, as you were saying, they're 7 points clear, and then they've only picked up 5 points since returning. You didn't wonder, like, what has happened there? Like, how's it just fall apart like that?
And you said as well, seeing Falkirk, we played Falkirk in the Scottish Cup and we beat them 3-0, but they weren't that bad. Like, we only put 3 by them. I think they made it quite difficult for us.
Was that game just there?
Aye, we only played them.
They played their second string that game, or not?
Did they?
Aye, they didn't play all their starters.
And they didn't look that bad. You just got to wonder, is it a point where you come back and Callum, will come at you here, but you come back from maybe a little bit of a break or whatever, and you just start getting, it's hard to pick up confidence. Once you get a string of it, does the motivation go? Does the pressure pile on? Have they just kind of fallen under the pressure, that position they were maybe in when they started to slip?
That's what it seems. It does seem as if they've sort of got a bit ahead of themselves. Like, right, we've got this gap, we're fine.
Right.
Just go into it and then try to get the centre back a bit of form. It's just not happened whatsoever for them, and obviously you've seen the demise.
Do you think they need big work in the summer, Div?
Aye, I think if Peter Grant comes in, that would be a good appointment for sure. And Falkirk, as you said, they're probably the biggest team in there. Well, they will be next season, and they'll have the budget surely to go up. I mean, if you look at it this season, they've got some big players in there still. If you look at the budgets, they probably should be much closer than where they were. Because they're full time as well, I'm sure. I'm pretty sure Falkirk are still full time. I mean, if you look up the Championship, you've got Arbroath, Alloa. They're no full time teams, aren't they? No, they're part time. So definitely underachieved for sure. It will be a big job. It'll be a big clear it. But if they get a good manager in, which I'm sure they'll be able to do, then you just never know next season. David won't be wanting them up, but will he?
He was loving that. Oh, he would have been loving that on Tuesday night, I can only imagine. So it meant League One after the games. I'll run through the scores very quickly. There is still one game left to play. It must be a delayed fixture of sorts. Clyde and East 5 play tonight. It's 7 o'clock.
It's a non-game, or not?
Exactly. The only thing that can change is Clyde jumping up a space in the table, which would change nothing at all. So the games that were on Tuesday night finished Dumbarton 3, Peterhead 2, Montrose 3, Partick Thistle 2. So Partick Thistle lost on the last
that got
game.
Montrose at the top playoff.
That's right, aye. Airdrie won 2-0 against Falkirk, and East 5 beat 4 for 3. So there was goals everywhere, which means the table finishes up. Partick top of the league, and the playoff positions go to Airdrie, Cove and Montrose. Airdrie not doing too bad considering I tipped them for relegation, finishing second this season.
Is it possible to still get relegated when you're in the playoffs?
Well, you know what, if they play that badly, then maybe they should just get put down for it. Maybe
but to finish second, that's fair play to them. They've kind of came out of the wilderness as well, because they were lower, weren't they?
And as well, big shout to Cove. I mean, the first season in League One, yes, they've got a bit more money behind them. I think they're kind of fast tracking their way there, but still to come up without the experience of playing in the league before and finish third in the first attempt, pretty impressive.
No, that's very good.
So I mean that means it'll be Cove against Montrose, and then it'll be whoever wins that taking on Airdrie before facing whoever drops down from the Championship. Very quick prediction then, Cove or Montrose, who's heading through?
I think there could be goals in that, but I reckon Cove. Montrose have just got there, haven't they?
Aye.
With the skin of their teeth. So
Cove have been.
That's it. Cove have been consistent all season. They've been there or thereabouts at the top of the league. So I think Cove could win this one, and it'll be a tasty game versus Airdrie. Because Airdrie have been scoring, no conceding a lot. So they've got a chance too, Airdrie.
Yourself, you go Cove too, or?
That has to be. I think they've put everything perfect there. It will be a game of goals, but sure, you've got to fancy Cove to push it.
Yeah, but I'm going to go Cove as well. I was I said at the start of the season, if Partick are to win the league, I'd fancy Cove as my second pick. I kind of dismissed Falkirk, and it's actually turned out to be quite for the good, you know. So I'll take that. League 2, same situation. The league campaign is now over. The game's finished up on Tuesday night. The fixtures went as follows: Elgin beat Queen's Park 3-2. Brecon lost to Stennismere 1-0, and we actually are now getting to, I think, what the games that getting played now. Kelty Hearts.
It's been played.
Has it been played? Christ,
you want to touch on it after that?
I'll come at
I've seen it, mate.
So Brecon 0, Stennismere 1, Cowdenbeath 2, Albion Rovers 0, and Stranraer 2, Edinburgh City 1, which means in the league table, Queen's Park champions by a long mile. In the playoff positions, Edinburgh, Elgin, and Stranraer, which means Elgin will face Stranraer, and take it you're going 6-0 Elgin.
We spoke about this in the last show, right? I thought when Stirling equalised against Stranraer, it put them out the playoffs, right? But I never realised there was another game, right? And then when I realised there was, I started getting a wee bit of guilt. Stranraer fucked one of my coupons, by the way, right? So I've hated them ever since. And been saying 6-0 for ages. But see, the guilt I felt, it was just overtaking my body. And the fact Stranraer are new in the playoffs, 5-0. I want to be no 6 anymore.
You've done some soul searching.
Aye, a wee bit. But no, definitely the best team win.
They're the best team.
There's a lot of goals but in these games.
There is. I mean,
it'd be good to watch.
Tuesday night, obviously a lot to play for on Tuesday night. Almost reminds me of, see when you always get the last weekend of the Premier League in England, and there's always goals in the last weekend. Like, fucking, I remember the prime example, 5 each, Fergie's last ever game and all that.
Lukaku
stuff like that.
3 or 4.
It showed that on Tuesday night up here in League 1 and League 2. It was goals fucking everywhere. So we're expecting to see that in the playoffs, I would say. I would be surprised if we don't get goals, but then again, look at Dunfermline and Rafe, so you never know.
I know. Maybe it's just a case
professional up there though, aren't they? You know.
Maybe it just is a case of some teams not got a lot to play for, so they just go out.
Just go all out.
Just go and enjoy yourself. I mean, the two league leaders, the Partick Thistle getting beat 3-2 and Queen's Park getting beat 3-2 on another day. Does that happen? Did they leave that many gaps at the back? Probably no. Maybe they made a few changes. So I don't know if it's because we are just getting to the end of the season. But for Scottish football, it would be good if the playoffs were exciting.
Aye.
And we'll be able to watch them or not.
Right, okay, that's that. League 2 over, all the games over for this weekend. It's going to be entertaining to see the least.
Talk about the Kelty and the
Broda then. Listen, because I am completely, and I feel bad. There's a guy on Twitch, speaks to Twitch sometimes, comes out of chat. Mosai hosts his own lower league podcast show.
Nice.
Very good listening. But I've not. If he's watching, he'll feel like I've just criminally let him down by not knowing what's happened. I've just been so busy. I just know the game got confirmed to play, and I've known nothing after that.
Yes, the first game was up at Broda.
Aye.
So advantage for Broda. Any predictions for? Do you know what the score was?
Look at us.
Any predictions?
Scottish football podcast.
Obviously, we had Broda Rangers. After give you a bit of backstory, the SPFL was playing about. Brecon were acting like idiots.
I know they were getting asked about it.
Exactly, because of the points per game thing. The Lowland League and the Highland League weren't able to fulfil their fixtures, so points per game. Champions were Broda Rangers and Kelty Hearts. I think Kelty Hearts had maybe played 13 games, Broda like 2 games.
Jesus.
But when you look at it in hindsight, Broda dominated the league last year and Kelty dominated it, and the SPFL should have gave them the playoff game. So the game eventually goes ahead. Broda are at home. What do you think the score was? Any predictions?
1-0 to Broda.
1-0 Broda. Who beat Hearts, by the way. Hearts beat Hearts. They beat Hearts.
Have you googled that?
No, I have not. No.
You going to agree with Ryan or Barry Ferguson, the manager of Kelty? So you've got to surely expertise. One each. It was 2-0 to Kelty.
Was it 2-0 to
Kelty? Huge. Absolutely massive. Kelty had 3 penalties.
Fucking
3 penalties in the match. Missed 2.
Missed 2?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus. What's Barry teaching them?
I know. I don't know. Don't talk about penalties with Barry because he missed a big one, I know, but Natural Novo saved them. But so looked like Kelty Hearts dominated the game, and it could have been 5 or 6, which is crazy considering Broda Rangers took Shinrat extra time in the Scottish Cup, put Hearts out the Scottish Cup. So it just shows you Kelty have got a wee bit about them. They've got that boy Higginbottom that was at Partick Thistle like 5 years ago. I think he was at Celtic Youth as well. So they've got a wee bit of money behind them. They missed the first 2 penalties, couldn't believe it. Then they go 1-0 up. Boy in the middle with a ponytail. Unreal, by the way. Unreal, just bossing it. Rob Van Dam-esque, like, honestly. Just bossing it. Scored a peach, made it 1-0, and then they get a 3rd penalty and Higginbottom puts it away, mate. So it's all on Kelty Hearts in the second leg. I'd fancy them, and I'd fancy them to beat Brecon as well, to be honest. I hope they beat Brecon. Surely we want them to beat Brecon, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's
sorry, Brecon fans, but like...
Well, I mean, after everything that went on and fucking all the rest of it, you can only... It's what you expect to see, innit? You want Brecon to go down. But aye, that's nice to hear. Thank you for filling this in. The new lower league correspondent.
I think I watched them at like 6 in the morning and all.
6 in the morning? I suppose
in the morning feed me, and I'm
your
like...
sleeping pattern must be like...
Put the YouTube
all the other place,
I sleep most of the night now, which is good.
Oh,
that's not too bad.
That's not bad. But aye, let's move on to the kind of the funner parts of today's show, because there's a lot of conversation to be held around the Player of the Year. The Scottish Football Writers Association have released their nominations for Player of the Year, Young Player of the Year and Manager of the Year. So we'll spend maybe 5-10 minutes here on picking who we think should win each of the awards.
Yep.
Rangers, very dominant, Div.
Yes, the only shortcoming's been the cups, and I don't think Gerrard was happy with that. It just showed that there is improvement still at Rangers. A lot of Rangers fans were already under that impression. I don't know if it was outside looking in. People thought that because of what you see on Twitter and all that, that is the overriding feeling. This team for me is still in its infancy. When you look at the 4 players that are up for Player of the Year, all experienced, there's still some young players that have still got some blossoming today and levels to go through. What was the question again? I just get stuck in my Rangers thoughts here.
My question was about...
Yes, so the Steven Gerrard about Manager of the Year. I think he's my pick. He's got to be... They're undefeated in the league. They've been exquisite. They've been superb. The only shortcomings has been in the cups. Closest to him, in my opinion, is Davidson, because if Davidson goes and wins this Scottish Cup, he's right in amongst it, because as you said, most successful season in St Johnstone's history, first season as manager, taking over the Tommy Wright with all the adversity was against him. If he can go and win the double, it'll be touch and go. But if he doesn't, my favour's towards Steven Gerrard.
Right, so we'll go through Manager of the Year first then, and the nominations for that, if I can just quickly find the right bit to scroll to.
I think I just answered that question there, didn't I? I got lost in my thoughts.
Right, so I'll take it to calendar. So you're going for Gerrard.
I'll go Gerrard.
The nominations for Manager of the Year. The Manager of the Year award: Gerrard, Clark, Davison, Martindale. Gerrard, first league title for Rangers in a decade. Clark, Scotland to the Euros, first major tournament since '98. Davidson, on the brink of a cup double. And David Martindale, who saved Livingston, got them to a cup final as well.
Top 6.
And it's just been in top 6. What a season all 4 of these managers have had. What a job. What a job Gerrard's doing. as the meme goes.
Clip that.
No, let's not clip that. That's like your catchphrase on this show. Clip that. That's it, clip that. So Gerrard, Clark, Davidson, Martindale. You've said Gerrard already. Who would you go for?
If he reaches an cup final, for me, it's Davidson.
But even if he doesn't win it?
I think it's
a very big season.
I'm not taking it. I'm trying not to be bitter, but I've done this before. People can go back and see when Rodgers was still at Celtic. You know, I was sitting there. I was like, arguably Clark was when he was at Kelly and he finished fucking third with Kelly. I was like, he's arguably Manager of the Year, isn't he? I mean, getting Kelly to third. I mean, that was unbelievable. Just the same situation now with Davidson and St Johnstone, with the restrictions they have there. They don't spend money. He's had to come in and follow Tommy Knight, and now a top half finish and perhaps 2 cup finals. The League Cup is there. For me, it is Davidson, and Gerrard would understandably win it if he does. But for me, it's Davidson.
Oh, you could. Oh, sorry, anyway.
No, I was just going to say. So, do you contextualise it then and put it up with the finances and all that? Because I'll flip it in his head then. And I take everything you've got to say there. I think that's great points. If Davy Moyes gets top 4, is he in for it in England?
I would say he. I think so.
You know what I mean?
I think
the season they've had.
The only argument I would say against Moyes is the fact that Guardiola might go in and win the fucking treble.
But if it's domestically,
domestically, then I think Moyes is just as
huge.
I think Moyes should.
So I take your point there. I think that's get merit, and I think if he goes and he wins a double, he'll be there or thereabouts. Man. I don't know if he just gets to the final, in my opinion, but he'll still be there or thereabouts. But if he gets a double, you're talking. Should I pick him at that point?
Exactly. If he wins the double, he should be Celtic's next manager. Who would you pick out the 4? You got to be the neutral and go for Steve Clark.
No, definitely not Steve Clark. I think if it is to go and get the cup double, it has to be Davison for me. But then you can see the arguments for Gerrard. What they've done this season, if they were a full season unbeaten, as it looks they will, win the league as well, the run they've had in Europe, everything you take into account. You could see the argument for both, but personally I'd push Davidson.
And I'd even have Martindale in third ahead of Clark.
Seriously.
I'd have Goodwin in 4th.
Disrespect to Stevie.
I said Steve Clark's come in and done a good job, but I've said it before. Alex McLeish got us to the Euros.
Jesus Christ.
Alex McLeish, Alan McGregor, and James Forrest. Get on. No, Steve Clark's come in and done obviously a great job, but in my opinion it should go to the managers that are in the league.
Okay. Right. Young. We'll go to Player of the Year before we go to Young Player of the Year. To talk about, I mean, some great players this season. I mean, especially as Rangers have been dominant, you know how good your players have been. It's hard to pick one above them all, but we'll try here and see what we can do. So for Player of the Year awards, if I can just find it very quickly, we have been given just 4 Rangers players we've got to choose from. Madness. Yes. So you've got Connor Goldson, you've got James Tavernier, you've got Stephen Davis, and you've got Alan McGregor. What a selection for you, sir.
Oh, mate.
So I'll leave you to sit and think, and me and Callum can start this off. Out of all 4 of them, for so long I said Tavernier. He was my player of the year up until he got injured. The fact he's missed that little portion has maybe allowed Davis and McGregor, especially out of the 2, to kind of rise up for me. Goldson as well has been great. If I was to pick, I'm going Davis. Stephen Davis, my player of the year. Just because he's doing it at his age, he's been doing it in the biggest games. He's gave Celtic a showing up.
I thought he was going to break his hip when I attempted that over age.
I nearly broke my hip celebrating.
I'm going Stephen Davis.
I think I'd find it hard to argue against that. For me, it has to be Davis. For what I've seen him this season in the games, he's been phenomenal, especially at the age. The way he still runs a game is phenomenal. The passes he picks out, even the attempts he's getting in goals is unbelievable. But then if you were to flip back McGregor, like some of the saves he's pulled off in games, like,
and that's a lot of people always say that the reason Celtic are now dropping all these points and they don't have a keeper like they did with Forster, but Rangers have that keeper. They've got McGregor. You've got keepers who make big saves, and that changes the course of games. And McGregor does that week in, week out.
He's one of those he's one of those goalkeepers. Seeing if the ball does make it past your last line, you've got confidence him to pull off a save and at least do something. Whereas flip it like it's Celtic, you don't have any confidence at all. You don't even have any confidence once it's past your midfield.
I know. So if you pick out the two of them, who are you going with?
I had a slight edge towards Davis, man.
Davis. So 2 for Davis. Who are you going for?
Wow, Jesus, it's so hard.
It's
for the
weird,
longest time.
Just to very quickly say, very weird not having a Celtic player in here after the last few years, isn't it? Just not having one to pick from.
I think Tav was in it last year, I know, wasn't he?
He was.
Yeah, had a great season. For the longest time, I agree with you. I was on Tav. Unreal. He was part of a record-breaking defence. He certainly improved defensively, and going forward, he was hitting levels that I've never seen before. To be fair, for a long time anyway. They talked about some of the goals he was scoring. Dundee United away,
the free kick was unbelievable.
It was tasty, to say the least. In recent weeks, I said it in the last show, Goldson is just kind of sneaking up there for me, for sure, because he has been. I look at the 4, right, and I say, see if you took certain ones out, who would have the biggest impact there? And I think that's maybe what's changing my mind on Tav, but I still want to kind of go with him. It's so hard because Tav's been out. Patterson's come in, Rangers were still good, but when you see Tav back in the team, he's just unreal, and he's hit a level that just is amazing. Connor Goldson has been the ever present. If you take Connor Goldson out of that team and you put somebody else in, potentially for me, you see the biggest difference. Even though Stephen Davis has been brilliant and stuff, and Al McGregor's been. This is in my opinion a go-room season. He's hit the levels where he's making saves where you're like, wow, and some of them are in Europe. But I think I'm leaning towards Connor Goldson. I'm leaning towards Goldson.
I actually expect you to go for Goldson. You know, I've seen a lot of Rangers fans say Goldson.
He knows what it means. He's got that willing spirit, and also he's been unreal. Like, I can't remember a player really beating him this year. There's maybe one big mistake that jumps out at me, and it was the one where he lets El Yunusi in. But other than that, I'm finding it hard to pick them. But I wouldn't argue if it went either or. It's literally a flip him.
Aye.
I think I'll go to Tav, by the way.
Well, since we've not had a quiz for today prepared, we're not going to have a quiz. I'll ask a wee mini quiz question to you. So, who was the last non-Celtic player to win the SFWA Player of the Year? Do you know who it was?
Greg Stewart. Did he win it? He was in the running, wasn't he?
Nope.
It's actually. I'd imagine an Aberdeen player.
That's
not Aberdeen.
Is it not?
No. I'll give you a clue. The year 2013.
That's Dundee United, then, isn't it?
Nope.
No, not even Dundee United.
No, Dundee United.
St Johnstone.
Nope. I want another clue. He currently plays for Celtic.
On you go, mate.
But he didn't play for Celtic in 2013 when he won it.
Right, so he's going for it.
This is just an obvious one, isn't it? Think of a certain confectionery that you would get from the biscuit aisle in Tesco.
You've got a guy called Digestive?
A guy.
Right, just tell us.
Made by the company of Tunnocks. Oh, come on, how's this not hit you yet? Wheat tea cake! Wheat tea cake!
Oh, did he win
Griffiths 2013 was the last player.
For Hibs?
Yep, for Hibs, won in 2013 for Hibs, Scottish Football League Player of the Year. Another wee quiz question very quickly. Who was the last Rangers player to win it?
Last Rangers player to win it would have probably been in 2011.
Nope.
No? 2010? 2010, my God, Stephen Davis? No, he's won it though, I'm sure.
He's not won this one, no. He's not won the Football Writers Player.
Right, so it's a different.
Right, so it's all different awards, isn't it?
My God, it's hard. Yelovich?
No, it was Davy Weir. 2010. So from 2010 onwards, if I just read out the list very quickly: Davy Weir, Emilio Izaguirre, Charlie Mulgrew, Lee Griffiths, Chris Commons. Charlie Mulgrew, Lee Griffiths, Chris Commons, Craig Gordon, Lee Griffiths again, Scott Sinclair, Scott Brown, James Forrest, and Odson Edouard.
Is there another one then?
Yeah, there's the PFA Players of the Year.
Okay.
Aye, that's the other one. This is the Football Writers Player of the Year.
Fair enough.
This is the one determined by all the journalists.
The journalists.
So maybe one day me and David will be voting in that. I can't. My apologies, mate.
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
It's fine. And then finally, the last one, the Young Player of the Year award. And we figured this out the other day. So it's only Scottish players that can make this. I said the other day before we started the show. Up for the award: Josh Doig, Lewis Ferguson, Nathan Patterson, and David Turnbull are the 4 names. Yeah, for me, I'm just going to... It's Turnbull. It's got to be Turnbull or Ferguson. I'm stuck between now. I'm not... Patterson.
I think Doig.
Doig could be up there as well. Patterson, I would say, if he was in the team the entire season, he probably could have been up there. I think he could have been the one, because he's been that good. Turnbull only came into the team in November, I know, but he has been levels. I mean, it's just unbelievable. What a player.
Argument he's been quiet the last couple of months?
I wouldn't even say he's been quiet. I think the team's been that bad, but you still see how much he does in the game. I know he's been quiet in terms of scoring goals, maybe, not been doing as much, but he's been brilliant. It's him or Ferguson for me. Do you know what? I might actually give it Ferguson. I'm getting it all as Ferguson.
I'm going Josh Doig. He takes Stevenson out of the team, an ever present for don't know how many years since he was a teenager. And he's been brilliant. He's been absolutely superb. I've just got to go with Doig. I think he's been brilliant, mate. I think Turnbull's been really, really good. Been the best of a bad bunch when he's came into Celtic in November. I don't know if that maybe does him out of this. I think he probably will win it, by the way. But
I'm going to stick with Turnbull.
If he comes in for November, he's not done the full season. So maybe that hangs him. Patterson's obviously not played a lot of games, but he's been good. And Ferguson started really well and kind of died down. Whereas Doig, I think's just been he's had to learn a few times. I think he's been subbed a couple of times at half time in that. But for me, the breakthrough season, I'd go with Doig, man.
Yourself?
I don't know.
I'm sticking with Turnbull. I have to say, I'm going Turnbull. I'm doubling down. It's fucking Turnbull. That's it. He's just unbelievable. He's just so good. He's got to go to the very top. He's such a good player.
I think he's got an arm move in him.
He's got to be.
Do you think it could happen in summer?
No, not a chance. The rebuilds around him.
So do you know how he's came in at the levels where he's been that good it could happen in summer?
No, because he still can go up at Celtic. You got to remember, this is him coming off the back of not being fit. Apparently, he's not been fit. Wait till he's fit. Got to be unbelievable. He's got to be the best player in the country.
Clip that.
I was going to start big.
No, listen, Turnbull's got a lot of ability. What I like about him is the swagger that he came in with, and he knew that he belonged there. Sometimes you see a player come in into the old firm and they don't quite believe that they belong there. He's come in and you see that arrogance in a good way. And he knows he's top man. He's already top man at Celtic, which is mental. To be honest, but he's had a decent season for sure.
And you're picking?
I think Ferguson for me.
Ferguson, you going?
He's been very since Glass came in. He's been playing a lot more attacking. He's pushed him more further forward. You see him. He's getting in there, go against us. And I know he's getting back again at the right place, right time. He's managed to get himself in there. I think Derek Ferguson obviously he spoke higher enough of him this season, and he's still said to him he's still got so much he needs to learn. So I think if he was to have. Not seen Stephen Glass went with a good manager, don't know enough about him, but if he gets a manager in him that can push him to his best level, same with Turnbull at Celtic, if a good manager can do it, if it is to the how, he can push him into being that top player, as you're saying, that gets that other move in him, that gets him the big move. I think for me it has to be Ferguson.
I agree. I think 4 good candidates here.
Definitely.
Patterson's not played enough probably to get the award, but he's just came in and took to Rangers like a duck to water. He's been really, really good.
I think you can make an argument for all 4 of them. All 4 of them have just been quality since coming into our teams.
Future's bright.
Definitely is.
Some breaking news, non-Scottish football related, before we end up the show. Villa Park, Aston Villa have offered their services to host the Champions League final this season if they choose to take it away from Istanbul, but UEFA want to keep it in Istanbul. Villa Park.
UEFA want it in Istanbul. Why did Villa?
I know.
It's a bit random. Maybe Wembley or something.
I'd have thought Wembley.
Some stadium.
No, how many is it hold? 60?
50,000. 50,000. Good stadium. Apparently UEFA are committed to keeping it in Istanbul.
It does seem a bit strange.
Because Istanbul don't have the same leeway for fans, whereas if it was in England, 2 English clubs as well, they can get fans in the ground for the Champions League final. But imagine that Champions League final in Birmingham.
Exactly, but so what we're saying is 2 English clubs. Yep. So would it no make more sense for it just to happen in England? We're in a pandemic.
Exactly.
Instead of them travelling to Istanbul, having no fans at the game, why no change it to Villa Park? And it means fans can get in.
Yep, it means
fans should be in the Scottish Cup final as well.
Yes, they should.
100%.
That's it then. I think we're at the end of the show. I want to get things moving because we've got a busy day ahead of us, me and Callum especially. So I'm going to just skip over the Twitter questions today. My apologies. We'll be back with them in the next episode. But lads, that was a belter of a show. Callum, it was nice to have you back in again.
Nice to be back.
Hope you enjoyed. Div,
thank you.
It's a nice experience all the time.
That sounds like sarcasm.
It was. Lads, if you've been listening on Spotify, make sure to please share out the show and follow the podcast so you're updated when new ones are released. That goes across all the shows, including the Celtic, the Thunder, the Championship Show, and Pals Talk as of now. And also, if you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. It's the main thing to keep the channel growing and to also stay engaged with us and make sure you get everything. So make sure you like, subscribe. See you all next time.